Dr. Kohli, welcome to BW Healthcare World. You were listening to your conversations day before when the session was beginning. And, my question to you is we believe that the three foundation that are important or the pillars of healthcare are access, quality, and third is both of these coming at affordable prices, right? We in our country are living in a situation where we have inequitable distribution of healthcare. We have rural areas where we have people who have not seen healthcare for years, and we have urban areas where we have the hospitals trying to fill the beds.
You did?
How do you think technology can fill this gap?
Yeah, great question. And thank you for having me. I think one of the challenges we see, not only in India, but globally, that healthcare is fragmented.
Mhm.
So you see pockets of excellence in all geographies, whether it's big cities or whether it's in rural areas.
Mhm.
But what you don't see is a value chain that's been optimized to bring high quality care accessible
Mhm.
to every citizen.
Correct.
And that's our goal.
Right.
Whether you go to a hospital in a small town or whether you go to a hospital in a big town,
Mhm.
if you're having a heart attack, the care should be the same.
So,
It can be personalized to your individual settings, but standards-based care should be available to everybody. And I think digital technologies, digital health, create that platform where we can optimize the value chain that allows us to make sure that quality healthcare is accessible to every human being.
Correct.
This day and age, you cannot run an industry with 30% waste,
Mm.
which is what healthcare has.
Correct.
Resources are lean.
Mhm.
We know that the bucket will not get any larger.
Mhm.
Per capita amount of money that's available is going to remain the same or even shrink.
Mhm.
You run a business,
Mhm.
other businesses run, nobody run that 30% inefficiency. So I believe that technology will be one of the key pillars to help us automate tasks, but most importantly, weed out inefficiencies so that we can actually do what's right for our patients, our customers,
Mm.
which is the reason why we all exist.
And, when you're talking of 30% waste and how technology can help us solve this problem, do you think it's going to be an additional investment required by the hospitals or healthcare providers? Because some of the large hospitals may be able to do that, but a very large percentage of healthcare delivery mechanisms in India are smaller places, small nursing homes. In fact, some of the hospitals, some of the nursing homes may be less than 10 beds. So how do they make this investment and save this and build efficiencies?
Yeah. I think we were talking about this yesterday. We need to look at new business models.
Mhm.
How do we make technology more accessible to smaller entities? And this is where thinking about technology as a service model,
Mhm.
where you begin to look at new lines of businesses that come in that say, you are running a smaller hospital. There are 1,000 hospitals like this. There's a market here. And we get suppliers to come together, bundle technologies. So rather than saying, we'll give you a bunch of technology, you figure out, good luck, they're saying, you're trying to improve cardiac care. You're trying to improve orthopedic care.
Mhm.
What does that look like, right? And let's look at providing suite solutions. Look at Microsoft Office.
Absolutely.
It bundles key office software. So we need to be thinking about new ways of addressing the market need.
So, Dr. Kohli, one of the things that I've observed is that the decision makers in healthcare today are from a little older generation. They are the ones who are responsible for taking decisions. Adoption of technology has always been something which has been very, very tough in that age group. In fact, using your phone for consultations, using Zoom or WhatsApp videos, etc., it took us a pandemic for the older generation to adopt these changes. How do you think in a country like ours, we can help healthcare providers adopt automation technology to build efficiencies?
Yeah. You said something very important. When the right drivers are there, people change. It took a pandemic for us to begin to realize that everybody can actually adopt technology and realize the benefit from that. I'll tell you a statistic. In the pandemic, telemedicine took off. And when you look at patient satisfaction scores, they were actually higher in some studies And the reason is because looking into the Zoom, you had eye contact with your doctor. In today's day and age, in-person visits are often impersonal.
Correct.
In most of the world, right? So we really need to begin to think about, right? Let's not use stereotypes. Let's look at what is the problem we're trying to solve, and let's look at solutioning it appropriately. One size does not fit all.
Absolutely.
So we really need to begin to look at, how do we put the right drivers in place? And I think in the Indian market, you're beginning to see macro drivers, regulation, policies coming there. You also need funding support, right? This will not magically happen without, money coming in. But part of where the money is going to come in from the savings that we'll realize. Part of that is going to be part of a business model.
Right.
So you cannot begin the conversation by saying, oh, what technology I need. You really need to tell my business what's happening to my consumer base, right? How are they going to consume healthcare services in the future? Am I positioned competitively to address that need? And that's what every business does, right? So if you're not thinking about that, let's go beyond MRI and CT scanners and the diagnostic, right? Let's look at information technologies. Today's consumer base,
right,
is very digitally savvy. They will be the elderly of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And even today's generation of elderly, right? Pandemic has been a gift. They are asking for those services, right? So the question is not how should I think about adopting technologies? Like, will I survive if I don't do it meaningfully? So I think you need to think about technology with a purpose, not technology trying to find a purpose.
Absolutely. I think this is brilliant because, if I look at the technological development that started about 3 decades ago, I'm not even talking about healthcare. There were a lot of people who felt that, there were questions about what is it that the technology can do. And then we saw the evolution to a point where we said, you think about what is it that is needed and technology will be enabler to make that happen. Now, this requires a mindset change. What do you think has been the role of CAHOCON? You've been here for 3 days. What is your experience at CAHOCON? And do you think this is a platform that could trigger that mindset change in the adopters for technology?
The thing that really impressed me about CAHOCON and the leaders here, they're tied to a singular vision. The purpose is to improve patient safety. There cannot be a better cause, especially if you're in healthcare, than to improve patient safety.
Right.
I can count off members of my family, friends, who say they've been harmed or nearly harmed by the healthcare that was supposed to help them. That really should not be the case, right? We don't get into an airplane thinking that there's a high probability that I will have a bad outcome. We would not fly. So I think we really need to commend CAHO for the leadership and the vision that they have. And I think everything begins with that. The mindset change begins with that. Saying that safety is important. We value what investments is needed. It may be a slow journey. It'll be a time consuming, but this effort is worth it. So I think you really begin to focus on what's important to me, what's important to my patients, and say, how do we align outcomes, data, people, how you bring people along, how do you train them, upskill them, processes. You simply cannot layer technology in an old process. You will only increase the speed at which errors are made.
Yes.
So we really need to think, what does the future of Indian healthcare look like? And this is the exciting part, right? Where we actually get to design the future of healthcare. We will be consumers. We're talking about the next generation, it'll be you and me, right? So it's a privilege for us to be able to do so. And then finally, technology, right? Then you think about what are the tool sets? And technology is one tool set. You have to look at what is involved in providing a unit of care. And then saying that, change is a science. It doesn't happen automatically. You can't take it for granted.
Right.
And then funding. Obviously, you want to make sure that, you're funding the right priority. And this is where the role of policy also comes in. So really partnership that CAHO has at all levels. But really, I think what I'm impressed with is leadership and the singular focus on patient safety.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Sure.
Welcome to India.
Thank you for having me here.